Justin, thanks so much for your time today, for coming to this tank experience with us. What was it like for you when sort of it was broached to you that you were going to be doing this tank sequence in your movie?
Well, it was actually my idea, so it was more about the shock of the rest of the crew when I presented to them in the studio. But again, you know, we know tanks from footage we've seen, and for me, it was just about making sure that, you know, what we can do. So we ended up just renting a tank, and we went to a yard with cars, and we just drive and see what would happen. And once I had that experience, I felt like we can push that and really have some fun.
Yeah, so Fast 5 was such a massive movie, and then did you think that this needed to step it up, and what could we do to make that? And a tank seemed an obvious option, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think logistically or superficially you would think that way, but I think the challenge is to not let that lead you. You know, I think part of this franchise, I think with all these sequels, when I first joined, was to hopefully change the sensibility and help you evolve. And with evolution comes scale and bigger. And so I think by the time we hit Fast 6, for me, this is kind of the culmination of my experience. So I felt like it naturally was going to grow in scope.
Yeah, it's such a massive sequence, that whole tank shot. How do you even begin to start? Like, let's start from the beginning where we see the tank come out the truck. How did you envisage that, and how did you actually make that happen?
Well, it takes months and months before to kind of plan all this out, and you know, it took a lot of days with the internal crew, with boarding it, and I would actually kind of break it down into the beats. And once I have it into the beats, I have storyboard and previs, and it's about kind of having these tools to help visualize it for the rest of the people. And then once we have that, and then we bring in the other crew, and we break it down every beat, every shot, and how we're going to execute. And I think in this case, we started in March, and we shot in September. So it took all those months, every day of the week, to go through every one of those beats.
Wow. And where did you shoot it? Because I'm assuming it's not a normal road.
We shot it in Canary Island, Tenerife, and I actually had the sequence originally when I was visualizing it. It was going to be in Piccadilly Circus, and it was going to go down Regent Street.
Wow.
And very quickly I found out that we pretty much had to build our own Piccadilly Circus, and I wanted the money to be on screen, so we kind of traveled around the world, and once we got to Canary Islands, I saw that we could have that highway. I just felt like that was the right place.
Yeah, no, it looked great. And Lee Millam's the stunt driver of it, a British stuntman. What made him just so right for that part, and what did he bring to the tank driving experience?
Well, the thing that's great about Lee, I heard all these great comments about him and the way he drives, is that by the time it gets to him, what I really love is that he really gets the character moment, so that if a tank is going through the center divider, it's not just doing that. He's really getting the idea of why it's doing that, and has the attitude of the characters.
And when you finished filming that sequence, how did you feel? Like, did it in your mind as you wanted it to look? Was it exactly as you wanted it to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the fun of how is to really push the boundaries and see at the end of the day how close the footage is to the way it was conceived. And in this case, this crew, we've done so much together in this cast that I was very proud of everything that we've done.
And you mentioned Piccadilly Circus and Regent Street. You didn't get a tank in there, but you did do some really cool stuff in there. What was it like shooting there? I'm guessing you kind of had much time there. It must have been shot early in the morning or late at night.
We shot late at night, and it was about, like, we would get 7 minutes, and then we get shut down for another 40 minutes, and you have to wait for the next window. But it took a lot of coordination, a lot of trust. And so being only the third film to be able to allowed to shoot there, and to shut down the street, I know kind of the magnitude. So I'm very grateful that the City of London had that kind of trust in us.
And you're back in London now, obviously. Well, we're not in London at the moment, but you're staying there. What's it like coming back to the place where you shot your movie? Is it weird going to all these places where you might have been before, and with lots of other people, I guess?
Well, especially I think for Fast 6, we were here for almost a year. And so, in many ways, going back to LA, I feel like, wow, it's way too hot and dry. So it is for me, it's nice to be back. I actually really love the weather here, and I love, the people, and so it's a bit of a homecoming
Yeah, and obviously we're not going to see you direct another Fast movie. Why was this the right time for you to stop?
You know, because I feel like as a filmmaker, my career is finite, you know, and I've been very fortunate. The last 8 years have been, you know, a lot of Fast and Furious, and I felt like I took it to a place where I've challenged myself as a filmmaker, and I feel like I'm not going to do anything more. Everything from this point on out, if I did another Fast movie, it would become repetitive, and I didn't want to ever feel that, and I don't ever want the fans to feel that. So, you know, I also feel like it's always better to kind of leave while you're on top too, and I have a lot of great opportunities. So it's just the right time, and I'm looking forward to my next chapter.
The final sequence that we see in the movie with the plane sequence, when you were shooting it, were you in your mind thinking, okay, this runway is going to be really long? Because the first time I saw the film, I thought, how long is this runway going to be? Did you just play with that? Was it fun for you to do?
Yeah, no, believe me, I think, you know, when we do these films, we have some of the smartest people in the world working with us, you know, so very quickly, you know, people were bringing up the runway issue. And so I actually, you know, as we were doing the cut, I actually had people actually measure it, and you know, I actually stay at South Kensington when we're shooting, and then we were shooting a Shepperton studio, and I found out that runway in reality was that long. It was my drive every day from South Kensington to Shepperton.
Awesome. And what's next for you then? If you're not doing a Fast movie, what are you going to be up to now?
Well, in the next couple of weeks, things will probably settle in, and I'll make my decision. And I'm really excited for what's to come. But I'm definitely, I'm going to probably doing some TV projects, and I'm going to probably, you know, take a little break and then get back into a big kind of franchise feature. But I still have a few more choices to make before that comes. But I'm really excited because whatever decision I make next, it's going to basically set me for the next 3 to 5 years.
Absolutely. And last question is, you know, the Fast movies have become your baby over the last 4. What's it going to be like seeing someone else direct? And then, do you think you'll feel sad or happy, or how do you think you'll feel about it?
I think the idea of handing it over, I'm very glad that it was my choice to do, you know. And when I first came onto this franchise, there were, you know, a couple other filmmakers that had done it before. So I feel like what I love about this franchise is that the fans have really connected with these characters, and they have this relationship. And I know that this franchise is going to keep going past me. So I'm excited to kind of remove myself and become a fan again, and to be able to experience it in theaters with everybody else.
And do you have your own personal opinion of where you'd like to see it go, like what you'd like to see happen to the characters of Dom and the other guys?
I hope that, my only thing is that, you know, I don't ever want to get into another filmmaker's way. I mean, personally, I love the fact that we've always acknowledged the time that's passed, that, you know, these characters aren't acting the way they were acting 12 years ago, you know, and I take a lot of pride in that. So I hope that continues, and I can't wait to kind of watch it from afar.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today and for the movies. That was brilliant.